Hey y'all, real quick, I just wanted to come on and encourage you. Listen, I want to remind you that God is always on time. Remember, God's timing is not our timing. So let me explain. Sometimes we might be expecting God to move within a certain time frame because we feel like time is of the essence and we're running out of time. Okay. And I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you. I felt like that many times in my lifetime. Okay. But anyway, let's keep it moving. So listen, God does things in a way in which it always is right on time. And what I mean by that is sometimes we might be expecting God to move and to come through at a certain time frame, and it sometimes may not come when we expect it to come, or when we are expecting it to come through, or when we are thinking, okay, it's time for it to come through now. Okay, what's going on, right? So, but God is probably making it so that we have to extend our faith. See, faith without works is dead. And sometimes we have to put more work in behind our faith for God to then do his part and come through. That's why God's timing is perfect. It may not come when you think it's supposed to come, or it may not happen when you think it's supposed to happen. But keep putting the work behind your faith to believe that God is going to bring it to you. See, the one thing that the enemy relies on heavily is for us to drop the ball, no longer put any work behind our faith, and just start doubting and allowing fear to creep in, and all the things that then, once we took steps forward, will make us then digress and take steps backwards and delay whatever we ask God for, delay it from coming to us. I'm speaking from personal experience, okay? My 47 years of life. And yes, I am 47 years old, okay? And there are some things that I've been asking God for, but then when I thought back on it recently, even though I've been asking God for certain things, I have allowed my faith to drop to the floor at times in the process of waiting for God to bring it to me. And I've allowed sometimes doubt to creep in. Yes, I'm admitting it. I have allowed doubt to creep in some areas. I've allowed fear to creep in sometimes in some areas. I held myself back because I was not thinking that I was ready, even though God said I was ready. My thoughts and the thoughts that I allowed to enter into my mind, that I allowed the enemy to allow to play through my mind, were telling me that you're not ready. So yes, these are things that I've gone through in my lifetime, things that I've experienced. I'm much better now, I promise. I'm good now. But when I was in my 20s and 30s, listen, there were moments when I allowed doubt, I allowed fear, I allowed despair, so to speak, to creep in and make me think, oh, it hasn't happened yet, or it just didn't happen yet, so why am I keeping faith for this? I would get a little funky attitude. I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one that's experienced that. But what I'm saying is this: even though there are certain things, and I told y'all in a previous video that there are some things that I've been waiting for God to come through on that has been a long time. Okay, that I've been waiting for some things. And, but then when I started to think about it and started to reminisce on when I first, when God first brought it to my attention that he was going to allow this particular thing to happen in my life, I started to take steps forward and do things ahead of God. How many of us have done that? Done things ahead of God, or got ourselves in situations that God did not align us or allow us to be in, which caused us to have some delays. Come on, admit it. Because we were impatient and we didn't want to wait for God to bring the actual real gift to us. So we settled for a counterfeit. Come on, somebody. I know some of us, including myself, we have settled for counterfeits in the past. Okay, so yeah, we might have had a little bit of responsibility in the delay of some things not coming to us the way that we thought it was supposed to come, or it being delayed. So we have to take accountability Okay. For the fact that some things haven't come because we got in the way and tried to make things happen that was not God doing it. It was us trying to make it happen. Come on. Now, does that mean God's timing is off? No, but God's timing is perfect. But we can sometimes delay the process of it coming. Anyway, listen, I said all that to say this. God's timing is perfect. And when things happen in the time frame it happens, it usually happens exactly when it's supposed to happen. Even though we might be delaying things, okay? With our flesh getting in the way and putting our little 2 cents and our thoughts into what we think should be going on. Delaying things. When it finally does come through and God allows for it to come through, his perfect timing is right. And by the time it comes to us, we are then more mature and ready to receive it, and in a place where we can not only receive it, but we are mature enough to be able to maintain the blessing when it comes. See, sometimes certain things we ask God for, even though we think in our mind that we're ready for it, right? God's like, no, you're not. Even though we think we are. And we might be in a place in our life where we're not yet mature enough to handle the blessing that God has told us he's going to give us at the time. And this is why when he finally does come through, his timing is actually perfect, because he comes through at a time when you're ready to not only receive it, but you are also able to maintain the blessing and not drop the ball on the blessing. I hope I'm making sense to y'all. Now listen. First of all, go out and make it a great day on purpose, and don't you go mess up nobody else's day. But God's timing is perfect, even though sometimes we might think in our finite mind that it's not. It is. We just got to stop getting in the way of what God's doing and trying to rush the process by jumping ahead of God and getting involved in things ahead of God that God didn't tell us to get involved in. Because we then delay things by doing that, okay? And then God has to clean us up from our mess that we made trying to get ahead of God. And yeah, y'all know where I'm going with this. But anyway, God's timing is perfect, okay? And by the time he comes through with certain things that he promised you, it's at a time when in your life when you are prepared to receive it, usually, and you're prepared to maintain the blessing, okay? So just chill out. Because I know some of us have been like, okay, God, where are you in certain areas of our life? And I ain't going to sit here and lie, because I had my moments when I had some conversations with God about, okay, God, you said this. When is it going to happen? Okay. I've had conversations with God like that. Thank God I haven't had one of those conversations in a very long time, in a few years, because I'm good now. But there were some times when I would be asking, okay, God, when are we coming through with this? Okay. But anyway, just know that God's timing is perfect. And even though you might have waited a while, God's timing is perfect, okay? And sometimes it's for a reason and a purpose that certain things haven't happened just yet, because God wants us to be able to maintain the blessing once he does give it to us, and we have to be in a certain place and be able and be ready to be able to maintain the blessing. I hope I'm making sense to y'all. But anyway, remember, God's timing is perfect, okay? All right, love y'all. Y'all know I love you. Now you go out and make it a great day on purpose. And don't you go mess up nobody else's day, okay? All right, love y'all. Bye.